Hello there, everyone. How are you doing today? My name's Allison, and welcome to my channel. This is Green Goddess Plants, Seeds, and Stitching, where I share my adventures in both gardening and crafting and cross stitch. So welcome. Welcome to all my returning subscribers, and I welcome all of my new subscribers. I'm so glad to have you. I am grateful to have this opportunity to share with you all what I'm doing. I'm currently out at our farm just outside of Meadow Lake, Saskatchewan, where it is perpetual winter. Winter just does not want to leave us alone. Let's just put it that way. So I've got a few projects and some plans and tiny little bit of haul to share with you today. So let's just get into it. All right, so I'm going to start with my temperature chart. And so January, February, and March are all complete. There we are. And so January, February, March, all very, very similar colors. And April is in here. I'm not quite caught up to date. I usually wait till I have about 3 or 4 days to stitch, and then I sit down and do them all at the same time. So we are getting into some milder temperatures. So the colors are a little bit lighter, not quite so dark and intense. We have been hovering probably just above freezing, maybe 5 degrees Celsius, maybe a little bit warmer, but we have had lots of snow. The fields and the gardens are all still under at least a couple of feet of snow. But that is my temperature chart so far. And of course, I got the framework started for May and for June, just so I can be ahead a little bit. So yeah, that's actually come along quite nice. I'm actually happy that I'm mostly keeping up with it. I haven't fallen behind. Like I said, I usually wait till I have a few days to stitch, and I do them all at once. But otherwise, I am actually keeping up to date with that. It's like the first thing I do in the morning is I record the daytime high for the previous day. I write it down in my planner there that I got. So that's that. And then next up this is probably one of my oldest whips. This is the Life is Sweet Stitch Along. This was from the World of Cross Stitch magazine. It was their 2023 Stitch Along. So yes, I haven't pressed anything, but it's coming along. So I've been working on this last cupcake. I've got it mostly complete, not totally, but it's almost complete. And then I also did a little bit along in this bottom border. There's still a few stitches that have to go in there, like in the center of each square, and in between there's a stitch of color, so I got to do that yet. And then of course the back stitching, and that just brings them all out into life. And so this was designed by Doreen Jones, and I absolutely love it. It's been a joy to stitch. I love her color palette for this. It's so joyful and cheerful, and it's just quite pleasant. And then so when I'm finally done this motif in here, there's only 2 more parts left. And then I'll be finished. It'll only take me 3 years to stitch this, but that's okay. That's okay. I still have also this border in here to finish as well. So yes, that's coming along nicely. Very happy with that. And we'll just set that one aside as well. And next up is my poison garden. These plants can kill by Tiny Modernist. I'll tell you right now, it's going to be a Tiny Modernist year for me. I did join her Patreon in January, so I'm just been, I don't know. It seems to be what I'm focusing for whatever reason, and all of her stuff that's what I seem to be drawn to right now. But so this is Poison Garden. These plants can kill, and so I have completed part 3, which is right here. I've done all the back stitching. You can see part 1 and part 2, and then part 3 was over here. So that's all complete. I'm so happy. It looks so good. Her color palette for this is really wonderful. I'm loving the motifs. It's a fun stitch. I'm actually able to keep up with it. That's the key, is I've been able to actually manage to keep up with the stitching. And part 4 has been released, so that's part 4. Nettle down here's part 4. So I haven't started it yet, but that'll probably be something I do this weekend, is get started on part 4. And I'm just really enjoying this motif. So this is stitched on a 14 count Aida that I dyed myself, and I am actually using the DMC floss, and I'm using three threads, just because I like the coverage better on 14 count. So yes, that's awesome. That is so awesome. I'm just loving that. It's just it's just gorgeous. Just like I said, the color palette is just amazing. I'm just really enjoying that. All right. And then we have another favorite one that I've been working on. So this is Chrysanthemum House by Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery. So that's what it's supposed to look like. And I'm inching my way closer to finishing. So I do have a bit of a hanging thread here because I was working on it. So this is Chrysanthemum House. So this is Pumpkin House over here. But this side here is Chrysanthemum House. And I completed all of these flowers in here. And I completed the pot that they're in. And I've been working on these bottom motifs that go across. And then the house starts up in here. So I'm looking for, and then I still have to finish this top border up here. There's still some stitching to do in that. But I'm looking, this is such a joy to work on. It seems to stitch up fairly quickly for me as well. Some stitches, some things, projects, they stitch up fast, and others not so much. But this one seems to stitch up quite quickly. And I'm enjoying seeing each motif come out as I stitch it. I think that's why I'm really enjoying it. I just like seeing each one just kind of come to life, kind of thing. So that is Chrysanthemum House. And then next up, I have another Tiny Modernist. Let's just do this, lift that up a bit. There we go. And so this is Garden Hare. This was a new start last month for me. So that's what it's supposed to look like. It was one that I think I started for the spring equinox. And I'm just gonna adjust this. Okay, so it's still in the hoop because I was working on this one as well. So that's where I'm at. I think the last time I showed you, I had maybe part of the hair stitch, but I've since completed that, and I've been working on up in here. So that is looking really nice. This is another one that seems to stitch up quickly. And this one is on, I believe this is a 16 count Aida that I dyed myself. So yeah, that is looking quite nice. It's coming along quite quickly as well. I'm very happy with my progress on that. And then I have my Star Dragon. This is by Owl Forest Embroidery. And so I've been working on this dragon in here. I think the last time I showed it to you, I had maybe a part of the head finished. So I've been working on that since then. And so there we go. I've mostly got the body complete for this dragon. I've got part of the wing down here, and this up here is part of the wing that goes up. And then unfold this. This is quite a large piece of fabric. The tail, this is part of the tail, so it kind of comes up and around the upper wing up here. So that's looking quite lovely. So this is stitched on a 16 count Aida called Porcelain. Yeah, Porcelain, and it's from Roxy Floss Co. And I'm using DMC for that. So I'm very happy. This is one that's a slower stitch. Even though like it's very limited colors, it still seems to be a much slower stitch. I'm not sure why it feels that way, but it does. But it's still coming along. You know, progress is progress. So there we go. And the last project that I decided to pull out, this is one that I started last summer. It is called July 1st by Shannon Christine. So that's what it's supposed to look like. And I think when I left it off, I had, well, the house, and the house is mostly complete except for the one window. And then I think I had started like the top line of the truck was kind of where I left off. And so this is where I'm at. So I have filled in the truck mostly. There's still a little bit of white stitching in the tires to do. And I've also filled in part of the outer edge of this firework. I still have that window to stitch in the house too, so I haven't done that. I'll have to do that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I should be able to finish this fairly quickly. There's not a whole lot left to stitch. There's the firework, and then there's a second firework over up in this corner. And I know the pattern shows these white stars in here. I'm not sure I'm going to stitch those. I'm not sure that it actually needs them. Like I'll probably still do like the bottom border and this top band, but those white stars, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'll stitch those or not. I'll think about it. I don't know that it actually needs them. Maybe the small ones might be all right, but I don't know about the big ones. I don't know. I'll have to think about that and figure out what I want. Once I get to that point, I'll make a decision. I suppose I'll get everything else stitched, and then I'll just make a call as to whether or not it's done. So yeah, that's looking mighty awesome. I'm very happy with that. So those are all my current projects. No new starts. Although I do have some plans. As I said, it's going to be a tiny modernist year for me. So in addition to the poison garden, I have signed up for her garden party. I am a sucker for anything that's garden related or bee related or pumpkins or fall leaves. That's kind of my weakness. So I couldn't really resist this. So it's supposed to be a 10-part series, 10-part weekly sections, released weekly from April to June. That I'm not sure. I guess if they're fairly small, that'd be all right. I don't know if I'll be able to keep up with it. I'll have to see. So the first part 1 is released on April 21st, and the last part is released on June 23rd. So we'll see how well I do. I haven't gathered up any materials yet. I don't have any floss or fabric, so yeah. We'll see. I do want to start it, so I guess I just have to make a point of sort of putting this at the top of my list of to-do list, gathering all the materials. I'm thinking I will be in Saskatoon next week, so I can probably stop probably at a couple of different places and pick up what I need, and we'll just see how I manage with that. So yeah, I'm excited. something new every week to stitch. I'm pretty excited about that. So this is on her website. The Poison Garden is on her Patreon page, but you don't need to be a member of the Patreon to do that one. And this one's just on her regular website. So So yes, like I said, I'm a sucker for anything garden themed. So I couldn't resist that one. And last but not least, in terms of Stitchy progress, um, well, that's all my current plans. I'm sure more plans will come up. Like I know I do have other patterns and stuff in the works, but I'm kind of wanting to gather some materials before I kind of show you those. Yeah. But I do have a little bit of haul to share with you. Not a lot. Um, it's rare that I buy too much, or if I do buy stuff, a lot of times it's the PDF patterns I just print off. So, but I did place an order with 123 Stitch because I saw a couple of things I really wanted, and the first one, of course, is Tiny Modernist, and it's these bee motifs, bees and honey. So there's some lovely small motifs that I can stitch up fairly quickly. I think my motivation for these was um, at one of the markets. Like I made a whole bunch of project bags, zippered project bags, and I had them on the table for sale at one of the last markets that we had recently. And I was explaining to a lady, she was looking at them, and I said, "Oh, yeah, you can put anything in them. You know, like I put my cross stitch in them, but you can put whatever you want in them." And she goes, "Oh, you do cross stitch? Or do you sell your cross stitch?" I'm like, "No." Unfortunately, most of my projects are quite large, and I'm not. I probably won't be selling them even when they're finished. But it got the wheels turning in my brain. So what about some small pieces? What about like these little tiny these are little pin pillows kind of thing? You know, something that can be they can be stitched up and do a final finish on them that so they're small, and then we can have them at least on the table as part of our display. And if someone's interested, they're more than welcome to buy them if they want. But it would be something that I could stitch up fairly quickly and hopefully finally do a final finish on them. I do need to kind of up my game with my final finishing, but my plan for the summer is to bring all of my sewing stuff out here to the farm. You know, the sewing machine, my quilting fabric, everything. I've already brought my 2 bins of quilting fabric. I just need to bring my sewing machine and my cutting mats and that all that kind of stuff, and bring that out, and then maybe I can get um, a few of these smalls finished, and then see what happens. That was sort of my thinking. Yeah. So that's Tiny Modernist, and that's bees and honey. And then the next one that I ordered, this one was actually, they had it on sale at 123 Stitch. So I thought, oh, hey, that's kind of cool. And it is another Shannon Christine design called Grow with the Flow. I thought that was adorable. Strawberries and strawberry flowers, grow with the flow. I think it's some pretty good advice. I think we all need to be a little bit flexible and adjust, make adjustments wherever we can as we see fit, just to keep going. So I think that was good advice. And this one could be probably stitched up. I don't know. It doesn't look like be too bad. Get it finished, and maybe that can go on the sale on the market table as well. We'll see. And last but not least, just because, is the 2026 Prairie Schooler Santa. I really like these. I only have one other one, but I'm really loving these. And I did start the other one last Christmas, and I still haven't finished it. So I think I might have to dig that out and put a few stitches in it just because. But yes, I'm really loving these Prairie Schooler Santas. I just like, I don't know, they're just fun. To me, they just look fun. So I'm looking forward to maybe starting that one in the fall. So there we go. So that is my cross stitch stuff that I have to share with you. Like I said, I have a few other patterns and projects in the wings I'm still gathering materials for. I did place an order with Stitchy Central in Ontario, but two of the items I wanted are back ordered, so I gotta wait for those to come in. And then I didn't realize that Traditional Stitches in Calgary was shutting down, so I did place an order with them just because, and so I'm still waiting on that confirmation of that. So when those come in, I'll give you a preview of what I've got planned for the next half of the year. But like I said, winter just does not want to leave us alone here in Meadow Lake. It just keeps snowing. The fields are still covered in snow. The garden is covered in snow. Um, for the most part, daytime temperatures are well above freezing, usually about the plus 5 degrees Celsius mark, somewhere in there. So it has been melting slowly, but then we keep getting more, which has not been helping. However, I was looking at the forecast for next week, and they've got plus 17 degrees Celsius for next Tuesday. So we'll see what happens. Like, that would be the 21st of April. They're forecasting. We'll see. Because when you get those really, really warm temperatures and a rapid melt, that's when you tend to get flooding, like flash flooding, and we don't need the flash flooding. We need it to melt, but we need it to melt gradually and slowly, so it kind of soaks into the ground and doesn't just run off into the ditches, which is kind of what's been happening. So that's sad. Nothing we can do about it. Nobody's planting nothing. The fields aren't being sown. It's going to be a very, very late start to our growing season. Yes, we do have plants started. They're in our grow space in the basement. Yesterday I got busy and started all of our cucumbers. I usually do 2, maybe 3 plantings of cucumbers. So I thought, 15th is, April's half over. I guess I better get that first planting of cucumbers in. I was wanting to do lettuce, but I would think I'm going to hold off to at least till next week before you're planting any lettuce because it grows quite fast. So, yeah, so things are coming along. It's tough some days when you just look out and there's snow still, or it's still snowing, or and I know the grid road just out here, it'll just be nicely dried up, and then we'll get either more snow or start to melt, and then it's back to being like a big long mud hole. It's just horrible to drive through. So I've been kind of hunkering down out here at the farm the last week and a half, just because of the weather's been so poor. Like I might as well. There's no rush for me to go into Saskatoon. Although there is stuff that we do need, but it can wait another few days before I drive in. So I'll be driving in next week. Lots of things we got to pick up. Lots of things I would pick up for myself. So, yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at with the life update. We're just keep buggering on is all I can say, and just I've been trying to do stitching, and I've been trying to keep myself busy. I think I'll be making some more pumpkin soup this week because we got 2 pumpkins still from last fall down in the cold room, so they need to be cooked up and dealt with. So I might be doing that maybe over the weekend. We'll see what happens. But anyway, thank you so very much for joining me for this brief coffee chat, this share of what I've got going on in my little stitchy world. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a great week and a great weekend ahead. I hope your stitchy projects are just chugging along quite nicely. If you're gardening, awesome. I hope you're having a good season. I hope you have a good season for gardening. I hope your seeds are growing. Until next time, do take care. Bye for now.